cloud. Beautiful.
If people hop on after the roll call, can they still vote?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. There have been some slight changes to how we handle the agenda protocol. This email would have been sent out to you all last month by Maureen. And all the town is asking us to do is to acknowledge that the town of Nantucket committees follow Robert's Rules of Order to govern its meetings as per the town code charter. We are expected to allow public comment in all of our meetings. Any member of the public who chooses to participate in the meeting should be allowed to speak freely and openly, as long as it has to do with matters on the agenda. If someone chooses to speak on something that isn't on the agenda, the committee reserves the right to request that it be rolled to another. Rachel, oh, is that your name? No, let me know your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I see that this is your. I don't know whose phone is ringing. Apologies. That it be rolled to another to a regular agenda item so that the committee can discuss it, and that any comments should be rolled to town administration if the committee doesn't feel like they can handle it. And unanticipated business, topics not reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the meeting may be brought up for discussion in accordance with the open meeting law. And that is really that. We are meeting as the Nantucket Cultural Council today, which is Thursday, May 30th, via Zoom. And Emma, I can kick it to you for roll call of all the folks on the meeting, or I can do it.
Do we have to read the other thing about being on Zoom?
No, they just
Okay,
want us to
excellent.
acknowledge Robert's rules now.
Okay. And is that at every meeting now? You have to read that thing?
You just got, no, I went over it with you guys because it's the first time we've met since we've done it, but it's just acknowledge that it's Robert's rule. We will take open comment, public comment.
Okay, excellent. Okay, roll call, Michael Kopko
Here.
and Barbara Tibbetts. Sorry, I got you while you were on mute. Okay, she's here.
Here, sorry.
Yeah. Sarah Ellis,
Here.
Bethany Oliver,
Here.
Nama Young here. And Ava, if you can hear us, we're just doing roll call and it's on you, Ava Rollins.
Good. I'm glad I'm not too late. Hi, guys. Nice to see you. Ava Rollins.
Thank you. And Chantal on staff.
Here.
Okay. We're gonna skip the approval of the January minutes. We're not gonna skip it, but we'll put that on our next meeting agenda. So hello everyone. It's been a long time. Thank you all for coming back and being part of the team. Luckily, the grant cycle stuff pretty much happens in the fall, so we have a little downtime. I was just looking at a timeline that Ava and I had made a while ago just to kind of review, but pretty much from um, March, April, May, there's not a lot going on. If we wanted to do a reception like last year, that's when we might plan it. And then the applications typically open in September. I don't know if they've released a date for that yet. To be honest, I have not checked their website, but not yet. And then, you know, I think last year we decided not to meet in the summer, which was good to just have a little break when everyone is super busy. But that does leave us like we need some time to kind of promote that the applications are open, get a press release out. So that's something we can be thinking about for the fall. And then, yeah, we get to do the fun part, which is doling out the money. But right now, there's not a lot going on. Shanta, do you have any updates on anything?
Yes. So of the 11 organizations that you were generous to award funds, only 6 have completed their contracts. So I'm still waiting to get the certificate of insurance from 5 of the organizations. And Emma and Ava, I always CC you on the emails whenever I send my plea to organizations who haven't submitted their stuff, but still nothing. I did hear back actually from one organization, Linda Loring, who their plan was to do the summer science celebration, and they won't be able to execute that project this summer because they've had some changes within their organization. They do plan on doing something in the fall. We didn't release the funds for that grant as of yet because we wanted to bring it to you all. So you do have to vote on whether or not you would like them to bounce the funds to something else in the fall, or if you'd like to just hold on to the funds, have them reapply, and then for whatever they do in the fall, and then be granted funds then.
Okay, so is that something we can vote on now?
Yes.
Or should we get like a proposal from them, or they're just
you can vote on it now.
okay. I mean, I think that sounds great. Do you guys feel okay about voting on whether we want to allocate money for a different project for Linda Loring? Or
would the project take place this summer?
No.
In the fall, they said?
It would be the fall. Okay.
If I might add, I know I'm not a council member, that it makes me a little nervous doing that. Because there is a process to the grant cycle. And while I understand that there's been some unforeseen changes, admittedly, and I love this organization. I think they do great work. I think that it's using the funds for something that they weren't originally approved for might put us in a little bit of hot water. It's one thing to say we can't execute the project now, but we're going to do it, later on. Can we hold on to the funds till then? But to kind of hold it and use it for something else later might make it a little bit dicey. Makes it tricky for us when we report.
So you're saying they should have to reapply. That's what you're suggesting?
That would be my recommendation.
Do you know, Chantal, according to like Mass Cultural, like if they sent a proposal to us saying, like in writing, like we aren't going to do the summer thing, and it had like more of a plan of what they would do with the funding, if that's something we could vote on at any time, or would it have to be during the application process?
You can vote on it anytime before their final reports are due. Let me pull up the contracts and see.
I also am pretty sure that the funds roll over. That's why in the past we had so much money. Mm-hmm. So if organizations or grant recipients don't use the funds, they stay in like our kitty.
No, because remember we switched to the direct grant cycle.
Yeah.
So the direct grant means that once they're approved, they submit their grant contract, they submit their certificate of insurance, and then we just issue a check. And then it's on them to do the final and let us know what they use the funds for and submit their receipt.
But if they haven't submitted, have they submitted all their
forms? And because they wanted to wait to find out what you all were thinking.
Okay.
So the funds will roll over into the next thing. So
yes, it can. Yeah, you won't. The Cultural Council won't lose the funds. It'll just roll into the next cycle. Right. So realistically, they could apply for those funds again in the next cycle.
I feel like we do a pretty thoughtful going through all the applications and are pretty specific about what we want to fund. And I have a sense that it's not going to kill them to have to wait for more funding in the next cycle. So I recommend that we just let that lie for this year, and then it feels like we should be I don't want to say strict, but there are few rules that we have and few channels that we work in, and this is one. And I think it really needs to be the same for everybody. So my recommendation would be that we let this roll over into the next cycle.
Okay.
And have them reapply.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to add discussion on that?
No, I'm fine with that. Is there not a possibility for them to do the same program later in the year? Is that not, that's not
No,
enough?
it was a summer science celebration. So they were going, if
Oh,
that was all correct,
right.
they were going to be looking at summer plants and wildlife and whatnot on the island.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I agree then.
It was such a cool program. I would love to see that happen.
Yep.
Next year, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I was
Okay,
asking if it was summer or fall.
So we would need a motion to say that we would have them reapply in the fall and not give them money for a different project right now.
Yeah,
I think you can do a motion to take no action, and that would just automatically let it roll over.
yeah, I would make a motion that we take no action and let the funds roll over into the next grant cycle.
Second.
Okay. So I'm just gonna do roll call.
Yes.
Barbara Tibbetts.
Here, take no action.
Okay. Sarah Ellis.
Take no action.
Bethany Oliver.
Yes.
And Michael Kopko.
Yep.
And Ava Rollins.
President.
And Emma Young. Yes. Okay, so that is unanimously approved. So we'll take no action on that. Shanta, in terms of the other ones, do you want me or anyone else to reach out to any of them to follow up?
Sorry. I can send you my little Excel sheet of where each organization is in the process. And then if you know, anyone felt like reaching out, if you have a relationship with any of these organizations, that would be super helpful.
Definitely.
We do have some of you committee members who haven't submitted your paperwork, so please submit. We would love to get those funds out because we are.
Am I one of them?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Your contract is sitting in the hands of our contract coordinator, Thomas.
Okay. I just want to make sure
I think I got money from a different grant.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if she was like saying, come on, get it done.
No. You guys
just
are
checking.
Okay. And they have until, is it the same as the reimbursement where they have a year from the date we approved it?
To use the funds, but they had 30 days to get all of the information back to us, and that was about 4 months ago.
Okay, so
we're being very generous, in
which, to be fair, this is our first year doing the rec grant, so it could be confusing for organizations that have done it with us before if they're in the mindset of the reimbursement, although there was a lot of chasing down involved in that too. So
I think just the nature of it all, it's always a lot of chasing, even with the cultural district, and we always do direct grants with the cultural district. Even with that, it takes us months. I was like, don't you want the money? Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's something we can get on a better schedule of in like January, February, March to be meeting to work on that all together and kind of divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think sometimes people just need a little push. They probably just have so many things on their list.
Oh yeah, of course.
But don't they want the money? I agree, Shanta.
Okay. So I need to resign at the end of June because I have done 6 years, and that's what Mass Cultural Council allows. So we need to fill the vice chair or co-chair role. And then I know we did elect some roles at some point, mostly to have on paper for mass cultural. But if we want to just kind of confirm that those work for everyone, I am happy to answer any questions. I was thinking while I was waiting to get on, I'm happy to transition. I have a lot of material on my own personal computer that I'll need to transition over. And yeah, just to kind of go over some stuff. I'm happy to help with that. So I guess if we want to kind of discuss, or Chantal, could you review what those roles we already have assigned are, if you have those?
That's what my fingers were rapidly trying to type to pull up that spreadsheet.
I believe I was a elected treasurer last year. I've not been asked to do anything in that role thus far, so I'd like to humbly reapply for that position for the coming year.
Excellent. Thank you for your service.
I'm just going into the council profile. Alrighty, so we have treasurer, Michael, and we have secretary, Sarah, and we have our two co-chairs, Emma and Ava.
Okay. And those are the roles that we need for mass cultural. It doesn't have to be co-chairs, but that can be helpful.
We need another co-chair.
Excellent. And Ava, you're still holding down the fort as co-chair?
If we can get a co-chair in, because I don't want to overextend and underdeliver, and you've been so helpful. So yeah, if we can have a co-chair who wants to engage.
And in terms of workload on that, like Chantal, I know that you've been submitting the agendas and the minutes.
Chantal's been
always want to check that that's something you're comfortable doing, and if you ever wanted to pass that off, just let us know. And that can be like, is that something the co-chairs do? Is that something the secretary helps with? Or if you're good to keep doing that, that's good for the people who might want to be co-chair to know.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm hoping that by the end of July, I'll have another full-time year-round staff member that can take all of the extra stuff that's been put on my plate so I can get back to focusing on all of you and the cultural district and all the wonderful work that you do down here. So at that point, yes. As long as that happens, I'm good to keep going. If not, I'll be coming back and tapping you guys so I don't get stretched.
Great. So is anyone interested in the co-chair, or do you guys want me to talk a little bit more about the work that goes into that?
Emma, why don't you talk a little bit about the work that goes into it, so that
Sure. So, yeah, so there's the admin side of it, which Chantal is covering right now, which is the agenda needs to be submitted to the town within 48 hours of a meeting. And then there's the mass cultural side of it, which there is a little bit of admin. In October, there's a financial report, which is really just reaching out to the town treasury department and having them fill out a mass cultural Excel sheet that just says how much is in our account, how much kind of went in and came out throughout the year. And then that just gets like typed into the Mass Cultural website. So if you guys haven't checked out the portal that they have, it's actually, I find it to be quite user friendly. You can poke around on there and see, it'll say there, right, like financial report, when it's due. And then typically in November, we have our voting meetings. I think that application deadline is usually in October sometime. So once those all come in, and that's all electronic right now, those come in, we review them. Last year we had 2 meetings, I believe, which was nice to kind of split it up. And then we have to send out denial letters to anyone that we decide won't be funded. And that is pretty simple. It's on that portal, and you kind of fill out, like, you just say who was applying for the money, that it was denied, and then you give a reason, which we talk about in our meetings. And then in January, there's a grace period where they can say, hey, I really think I should have gotten this. And if no one writes back, then we can send out approval letters. Those are a little different. They're not through the portal right now, although maybe they will be in the future. Those just come from your personal email, but it's a copy and paste. You guys have been awarded this much money. Many of you have received this grant money, so you've probably seen it. And it just kind of explains the process of how to receive your funding. And then there's another report that's due to Mass Cultural, which is just an overview of who you gave money to, how much. And I think that Chantal and Ava and I worked on that together last year. So pretty simple. It's not like a heavy lift on your own. And then Chantal has graciously taken on the kind of chasing after people for their direct granting paperwork. Do you know, Chantal, once they've given us paperwork, do they have to, if they are awarded a grant in the future?
Yes.
Okay, so every year we have to get the same paperwork.
Yeah,
okay.
There's the certificate of insurance is usually only good for a year. So
right, it has to be for like a specific time that they're doing a project.
And it has to list the town of Nantucket as additionally insured. And then of course it's a new contract each year, just stating the project and how much.
Yeah, so that might be like something that you take on, and yeah, and then
that part, what I tried to do to if you, sorry, Emma.
No, go ahead.
My ADHD brain going. What I tried to do this year to try to take some of the stressor off of myself was I wrote the contract and then got it to our contract coordinator to review because he is an attorney. He did whatever he does to make it legal, and then he did it via DocuSign. So that took some of the chasing out of it, but unfortunately, after that, getting the certificate of insurance was a little bit of an issue. So I have to work with him on figuring out if there's any way for folks to be able to just attach a document to that. So once they sign, they attach the certificate of insurance to the DocuSign or to whatever platform we choose to use. So it kind of does it in one foul swoop, so they don't even have to think about it later on. So I'm hoping
they might think, oh, I signed the contract, I'm done.
Exactly. It's such an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, and then there's just promotion, which in the past we've been kind of mellow on. Usually we'll do a press release that, at least the Inky will publish that. I'd love to see in the future more press release or social media on who received the grants, which last year we did our reception, which was our way of doing that. And we had that fabulous video made.
Which was amazing. We can do that again, Chantal? Sorry to interrupt, Emma.
Well, I mean, we did it, I think, in May or June last year, so I don't think we have time to do it this year.
Yeah, it was June 6th of last year. And I was thinking, just because there's so much that happens with my department between April and 4th of July. It's like every 2 weeks we're putting on a different program or a large event, that I was thinking of kicking it to September. And instead of doing it like a kickoff to the summer, it's a look at all the great work you've all done. You've finished your programs, and now we're celebrating that, because we do still have to do some sort of celebration.
And a reminder for the next submissions, right?
Exactly.
So it does seem to make more sense then. I like that idea.
Yeah, so does anyone have any questions or interest? Oh, and then running the meetings, which you have all probably noticed I get a lot of guidance from Shanta. Michael's been super helpful because he's been on boards and committees before. I have not read and studied Robert's rules. I know some things just from like practicing running the meetings. So it's daunting, but it's doable. And you've probably received emails from Maureen, who is in the town admin, and there are different kind of web seminars about running meetings and open meeting laws and things like that. Luckily, we don't have a lot of public comments going on, so it's pretty mellow in terms of just taking the head count, having people vote on stuff, getting seconds, things like that. But yeah, that would be a part of it. And with co-chairs, if you guys wanted to switch off or whatever you decide, to kind of share that load, that's part of it.
Nice is for you, Emma, Shanta, like for us to update a timeline of like all of this stuff. And maybe if no one's volunteering to be a co-chair, we make this process a little bit more collaborative next year. Cause I know that like you really took on the lion's share, Emma, and like it does make it like a really large commitment if like one person is doing all of this. And since we're all chairs, like maybe we can look at it a little more holistically for next year and say like, here are like the 5 chunks of things that we're going to be doing. We need everyone to volunteer for a chunk.
Right. Delegate.
I like that idea. I wouldn't want to take on the role. Finances is not my thing. I would not want to get involved in that.
And everyone can pay to their strengths, but what if they feel overwhelmed? We feel a little bit more like it's a communal activity and a little bit more dialogue instead of, okay, we talk to each other every 2 months and then like Emma is doing all this work and Chantal is doing all this behind the scenes work because she knows that we're volunteers. So I think that we could update a little bit more so it's a little bit more communal amongst all the active members.
Yeah, I would say as of right now, like your biggest thing is just who's going to run the meetings.
You know who would be a great co-chair is Tony. I would.
I love electing people when they're not here.
That's what you get for not showing up.
Can we vote right now?
Oh, another
for Tony.
That reminds me, another thing too is that part of the year you want to think about new members to the board, and usually it happens pretty organically, which is incredible, but you know, you do want to keep track of who's leaving and having enough people and getting people that want to do the work.
I might add so that if any of you have any suggestions for folks that you think would be great to be on this council, and you're comfortable enough reaching out to them, that would be awesome. If you're not comfortable and you just want to send me a list of people, I'm happy to reach out to them as well.
We could all do like some promotion and do another, and then people have to be voted in.
Last year we so the town
is there one
on the
one spot available, Emma's? Okay.
Yeah. And the town does put it on the select board agenda, the list of open committee positions. They also have it on the website. And then what we did last time was through the cultural district, social media, and newsletter, we included the open position as well, and included a link to Mass Cultural Council's website that explained what it is to what it means to be a council member.
Do we have money to run a little current ad, Shanta?
Oh, that I don't know. I don't know what current. I should know this.
I think you have to decide when you're voting how much you might want to set aside for admin, and there are certain things you can use it for, and certain things you can't.
They're 300 sticker, Shanta.
So we wouldn't be able to do that until the next cycle when we get money from the council, because with what Emma's saying is that when we vote on the grants, we are allowed to keep, I believe, and don't hold me on this, I think it's about 10% of the funds that that we're awarded. We can keep that for our own programming and whatnot. But we have to decide at that time. Otherwise, all the funds that we have in our account has to go to the grantees. So that if promotion is something you want to do later on down the line, that's something to think about.
Well, I'm just thinking if like we don't have enough manpower and woman power amongst ourselves, that it might be nice to promote getting some more people on board.
I know that there were more applicants than seats available last time around. I'm wondering are we allowed to reach out to those people and see, because as far as I know, we're on a rolling basis.
Yeah.
So there's not a certain time that people have to join, and it could be a good time to say, oh, we have a seat open. But like you said, if the town has that posting and stuff, but I'm wondering if we could go back and contact those people if that's appropriate, or I don't know.
I mean, if
like
we would be reaching out to people in the community, I can't see why it would be inappropriate, but let me just double check on that.
Okay. Because we must have those. I think you have them on paper, but I don't know if they're anywhere else.
Yeah, I have their applications.
But I don't know if that becomes confidential after they're submitted.
No, because it's public record. The paperwork that they fill out or their applications to be on the council does go to select board, and that goes in their agenda.
And it was at the select board meeting.
Yeah, so it's public record.
Is the number of committee members set somehow, or can we be more than 9?
You can have more. You can have up to, I believe it's 25 committee members. This was I remember we talked about this last year, whether we'd like to open it up some more to allow more committee members. And I think you had all decided that you felt comfortable with keeping it at the number that you're at. But if that's something you'd like to do,
yeah, I think just when it comes to the voting meeting, it's hard to get everyone together at the same time, and we don't want to leave anyone out of those meetings because they're so important. And then we would have to vote on whether we want to open it up, and would that have to go to select board or anything?
I don't believe so, but let me double check. I know we have to let Mass Cultural Council know.
So we have 9 altogether?
No, we're just missing Tony right now.
Okay,
so
8.
But we have 1 seat empty, you said, right? Or is that
it will be
No.
Emma. It will be Emma's.
That's Emma's seat that's about to be empty.
So we have 8.
We have 8. Yeah, I mean, I personally think we could stand to have.
I don't count as a member.
No, we have 7.
Yeah, I don't count.
3, 4, 5, 6.
You always count, Shanta.
Well, I'm a non-voting participant in the meeting.
I think we might maybe reconsider adding 2 more seats to the council. Spread the work out, get some more, input. Something we should consider.
Would it make it more complicated with more people? I'm new to this, so I'm just throwing out questions.
I wouldn't think so. I think that I found that our meetings when we're deciding on disbursements have been really productive, and everybody's got good insight and good input. But I wouldn't think that 1 or 2 more people would complicate that anymore.
I don't think it would complicate it. I just think, to Emma's point, the more people involved, the harder it is to get enough people in the room to vote.
Yeah, and it changes the quorum. Is the quorum 3/5 or something? Or a majority?
My brain isn't working.
I believe a quorum is a majority, but
yeah,
double check that. So if we had 9 people, then a quorum would be 5.
Yeah.
And getting
So
5 out of 9 is.
I think that, yes, it takes a long time to do the quorum and these kind of logistics, but in actuality, the bulk of the work that we do is what the co-chairs do in terms of all the paperwork and what Chantal is doing behind the scenes. So that's the activity that is very time consuming outside of these meetings that for the most part, the other members are not involved in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love your idea about delegating and
so I think I would propose that Emma and Chantal, we create an updated timeline for this next cycle and delegate out like sections, and then at our next meeting people can volunteer for each of those sections in line with things that they want to do, and have it be more collaborative so that this is a sustainable seat, because I think in the past sometimes it hasn't been, because it is a lot of work and people have stepped away because they can't handle that load along with their for-profit businesses. So that would be
I
my
love that idea.
I can
What?
definitely I can sit down and build out a timeline. Mass Cultural Council, sorry, has a really good timeline on there, so I can.
Yeah, that would be
Do you
awesome.
I was just looking at the one that we built. If you want, I'll resend it to you.
Why don't you merge those, then loop me in, and then we can kind of think about it. I mean, you guys, none of this stuff is beyond any of our competencies. We're all competent, people in service and in commerce. It's more just like going through and making all of these letters and these different elements of things. And I think if we made it a little more collaborative, it would make it more sustainable. It also make it more inviting to other members. It would allow us to be more impactful.
And what's a for-profit business again? I'm not familiar with that.
Sorry. What I'm trying to say is that we all work in commerce to some degree in our lives, and that we're all able to make input here, whether we work at nonprofits or for-profits or manage our family homes, whatever people are into. If we're all competent, or we wouldn't have been voted into these positions by this town of Nantucket. That's what I'm saying, Michael, you sassy man.
If I might add, I think all of the reports that Emma mentioned, while there are a lot of reports, admittedly, they're not quite. Mass Cultural Council has done such a great job through the Smart Simple website to kind of streamline it all. So a lot of it is just clicking buttons, and it's.
Well, there's that, and Chantal, you've also done an incredible job of being really useful. Not that Janet wasn't, she was wonderful too, but just like really giving us a lot more of your time and juice in terms of making this stuff work too. So I think it's both of those things. But yeah, I think it would be nice either way for the members to understand a little bit more all the things that we're doing, so that they can be more active and not just join for these meetings where we yay or nay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, just before Bethany has to head out, I wanted to touch base about like next meetings. And I know last year we didn't meet in the summer. I assume that's still gonna work, but Chantal, was that still your thinking as well, to kind of come back together in September maybe?
It's for all of you to decide. I left just what our regular scheduled meeting would have been, which would have been June 3rd, which is quite literally on Monday. On there, just so you guys see that it's Monday. So don't think we necessarily need a meeting then. But if you wanted to meet one more time before we go off into summer break, or if you wanted to meet throughout the summer,
do we need
out some of the plans.
I either way, I think that Emma, me and Chantal should create a timeline, and that we should share it. And I think that could also work over email to have those communications. I don't think we necessarily need to have a call like this personally.
Yeah, I would be good to see what that timeline is and what those things are, so that we can kind of choose something that we're comfortable doing.
First come, first serve, Barb. So you could be like, I want this.
Why don't we
just keep
no one wants me touching their finances, I can tell you that.
we can't discuss electronically anything. So the co-chairs and Chantal can work on these things, but we won't be able to have discussions about them without.
Yeah, why don't we, Ava and myself and Chantal can come up with a little more meat, and then do we want to have another meeting in like 2 or 3 weeks? I'm still technically here, so I can be here.
Emma, I'm sorry, when did you say you have to step off?
I believe it's the end of June because the fiscal year is July 1.
Okay.
So it would be helpful to have a list that we could go through, and if we can't do it through email, if that's not.
Yeah, Barbara, I'm
sorry, I'll wait. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll wait to hear from you all. I really do have to jump off.
Okay, thank you so much, Bethany.
I mean, Chantal, we can present things over email. We just can't have a back and forth, right?
Yeah, and just a reminder, don't hit reply all. Sorry, I forgot to BCC you all on the email so that you don't have the option, but just don't do that because that puts us in hot water.
Step is to get together and make this kind of timeline and these pots, present it to the whole council, and then we can, if people want to, we'll have a next meeting to talk about it while Emma's still with us.
Yeah, and I can send out another meeting poll for that.
That would be amazing.
And we can put together like a little Google Doc that just explains what each role is. Mass Cultural Council has these great 2-second, they're not 2 seconds, they're like 5-10 minute videos that explains like each report that you have to do. They show you exactly how to do them. So I can drop those into something so that you can see exactly what you would be doing so that you're more informed as you sign up for your task.
Yeah, after we talk about this, there's something else I wanted to talk about together.
Okay, so Chantal, if you don't mind sending out a poll, I would say the second, like between the 10th and the whatever, why is it not showing me all of June? I don't know, but between the 10th and the end of June, like for a meeting.
This is going to be an important meeting too, so we should make sure that we can get as many people on board as we can.
I'll call Tony next time.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm happy to prepare some stuff. I have this timeline I'm looking at that I think is still pretty accurate for us, so I will send that to Ava and Chantal, and then we can bounce back if we want to add more or anything.
I'm just sorry to interrupt. Is it my understanding that we're aiming to have a celebration of the recipient in the fall? Okay, so we need to discuss that as well. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, Ava, did you want to do something else?
I don't know if it's possible, but something I was thinking about when I first joined this council was kind of how we could support creativity on the island, maybe not just through financial resources, because we have limited funds to give out, and how we could maybe inspire organizations to want to support arts and culture on the island. And I kind of wanted to revisit that because I had like a sit down with like a large hotel group this week who wants to have more local touch points on the island, who have a lot of properties. And I think some of you know, at least Emma, that my dream was kind of to use some of the hotels in winter to have artist residencies where we could have creatives coming in, especially with Almanac Arts probably not having those types of things in the future between, as I understand it. So I wanted to revisit that and what we think of that in terms of maybe aligning ourselves with a project like that, to bring in more creatives to the island in the off season for studio art and music and dance and all of these kinds of things where they could workshop different bodies of work, and maybe we could be a part of that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Is that something that maybe we could collaborate with the Arts Council on? Because they have some they've got an infrastructure there that would be pretty effective at a project like that.
I haven't worked with them.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to get us in trouble. We can't talk about this because it wasn't on the agenda.
All right.
Sorry. But
So
can we,
why don't
Ava,
put
do
it
you
on-
mind if we put it on the next one?
let's put it on the next agenda. Talking about winter artist residencies with properties on the island as like a arts and culture activity for the council. Cool. And then maybe Michael, we can explore the Arts Council then, because I love that idea. Sorry to raw dog that one, Chantal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great topic. I just don't want us to get in trouble. And I think it deserves a little bit more time for discussion than.
Yeah, when we had talked about it early in my activity with the council, I was kind of thinking that it could be like a tax write-off for certain properties, and I think we looked in a bunch of different avenues, and I don't think that it can be because of how the council is run, but I think we could still get properties to be involved in something like that. And it could really contribute to the vibrancy of arts and culture in the off season. So I'd like to revisit it and exhaust exploring it. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. There's no one here from the public, but if they were, this could be a public comment time. And that's all on the agenda. We will not meet on Monday, June 3rd.
Motion to adjourn. Unless everybody wants to hang out a little longer.
That just needs a second.
Chantal, any chance I can grab you for 2 minutes before we leave off this? Like, can we just chat or set up a meeting or text or email or something? Oh, she's
You're on mute still.
You're muted, Chantal.
Sorry. I will just have to end the recording, but if you guys don't mind doing your all in favor.
I second. Yeah, all in favor.
Oh, yes. Do I have to do a roll call for that?
No.
Okay. Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay. That is unanimous. Thank you all for meeting again, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you.